Nice.
Chinch, I think I hit start streaming.
Oh, dude, sorry, I'm here.
I think we're on. I just hit start streaming.
Oh, all right. Hey, everybody.
Well, I was just saying, it's how the sausage is made here on No Filter. We're moving couches. We're in different spots. We're making it happen.
3 hours late. My couch was 3 hours late, Sean. But
I was 3 hours late.
I don't know.
What'd they say?
My luck. I have horrible luck. Horrible luck.
But
I do have the open ready.
Change. You're producing the mayor's office. Your luck's about to change. Brother.
All right.
It's about to change.
Ready for the open?
Yeah, let's do it. Hit it, baby. Hit it.
All right.
Hey, Chinch.
Yeah.
Chinchy, before we get going, I love that open. It's kind of weird looking at it. I'm like, I love the open though. It's funny, man. Looking at my grandmother, I don't know why this just popped into my head. This is a little off the agenda, but my grandmother Ruth Casey, what an unbelievable woman. Just was the best. And she lived in Long Island, New York. She lived in Sayville, and she would come see us, like try to come to Pittsburgh like once or twice a year, like once or twice a week. For 2 weeks or whatever, like to come see us at Thanksgiving time. And I remember one time my parents got this brand new carpet, right? White carpet. I don't know why the heck my mom got this white carpet. It was like tan, but it was not good for like teenage kids. Yeah. And one night, my parents go out to dinner and my grandmother's staying at home with me and my sister. And I get this, it's when Tostito chips start coming out with the salsa chips. You're like, oh yeah, get this big thing of salsa. I'm like, it's time, baby. I turned on some wrestling. It's like Saturday night. I'm so excited. Start watching Saturday night's main event. Rushing this salsa. I go up to go to the refrigerator. I hit the freaking jar of salsa off table. Bam! And it hits the carpet. I'm like, oh man, this isn't good. This is good. My grandmother, who's like a magician, man, she could do anything. She's like total old school, She goes, John, don't worry about it. I'll help you. I'll clean it up. She comes over, she starts mixing and matching, boom, makes the carpet white again. You never know. And I just remember it was like my parents, if they're watching this show, are finding out for the first time I spilled a whole jar of salsa. And Ruth Casey, my nana, my dad's mom, cleaned the whole thing up. She goes, Shawnee, this is our secret. Our secret. You gotta go, oh man, I love you so much. So when I saw that picture, I don't know what happened but that awesome. Story popped into my head.
Grandmas always take care of you. That's for sure.
Do, don't they?
All right, but we're talking moms and we're talking dads. A lot of fathers talk in this show today, and a lot hardcore hitting talk. One thing happened, and by the way, everybody, Sean Casey. I've worked with many analysts in my career. Sean Casey breaks down hitting better than anybody else in the history of the world, and that's a fact. Not just because he's my friend, but Anthony Rizzo had a bat the other night. You were going crazy about. You call me. You're like, we got to break it down. We did a little breakdown. This might be the first ever breakdown in podcast history. You ready to take us through it? Here we go. All right, first pitch there. Go for it. Tell us what you think.
Okay. Well, here's the deal, Chinch. When you watch this pitch, first off, let's set the stage. It's 5-4 game. It's at Wrigley. First time fans have been allowed in there. It's a full house at Wrigley, packed house, right? And it's the first time everyone's back. It's 5-4. Anthony Rizzo, the freaking legend of all legends in Chicago, is up. And one thing I love about Riz is he's going to give you a tough at bat, right? He's going to give you a tight, fight, compete, right? And that's when he chokes up. He's on the dish, right? And Daniel Ponce is trying to get him, with pitches, middle away, right? They see he's trying to put him away up, right? So he's delivering balls up. Now he delivers one up and in. Riz kind of fights it off. I think the big thing is here, another one low and away, right? I think the big thing here, Chinch, if you can stay there for a second, when you watch this at bat, there's another one away. It's a great at bat because as a hitter, when you get the 2 strikes, your mentality should be if you're competing your butt off is if I get beat, I'm going to get beat late. You're not beating me out front. You're not beating me where I'm too aggressive and I'm going to get the baseball. I think you see that a lot in today's games. Guys live out front too much. And when you get to 2 strikes, a good pitcher will exploit that aggressiveness out front. Rizzo does a great job. He spreads out, chokes up. And in this at bat, when you go back, all these pitches, another one up and away. He's fouling them to the left side, right? He's fouling them over the Cubs dugout. Boom, one after another. Boom. Then there's a ball that he takes. What that shows me is, man, he was so locked in late, right? Another pitch right here, fouled straight back, right? Another pitch, up and away, fouled straight back. Look how late he's catching the ball, though. Another one right here. Is this the one he homers on right here, Chinch?
This one right here. Next one.
This one right here. So he gets the pitch. If you go back and look at this at bat, Chinch, what's so amazing is it wasn't until pitch 14 right there where he got a pitch, center cut, middle in, that he was able to deliver to the right field bleachers. 14 pitches.
Unbelievable.
The anatomy of that at bat, too, in your mind as a hitter, when you start getting to that 7 pitch, 8 pitch, 9 pitch, 10 pitch, it's almost like your own little world. You got to be able to step out, take a breath, win the next pitch. Boom, fouled it off. Step out, take a breath, win the next pitch. And that's the great thing about that Rizzo at bat, that as a baseball fan and an analyst, you look at it and you really appreciate the being able to go one pitch at a time, being able to foul balls off that were up and down, but fouling them off late. You could tell Riz wasn't going to be beat early. If you beat him, you're going to have to beat him late. Then he gets, on the 14th pitch, he gets a pitch middle in that he homers the right field at a packed house. Wrigley, first COVID crowd that's back. Everyone's in the stands. Ties it up 5-5. Cubs win the game. Just a great at-bat, man. And it made me think back to Alex Cora's at-bat. You remember that? Early 2000. Alex Cora had an 18-pitch at-bat for the Dodgers. Ends up homering on the 18th pitch. I mean, these are the kind of at-bats that we remember as fans because, man, that's what the game's all about, that one-on-one competition. And when you see a guy get in it like Rizzo did there, man, you just really appreciate it.
He had a 1-2 count for a while. At what point, when you're hitting, you're still behind in the count, but at what point after he fouled, he probably wasted a high fastball, he's wasted a couple of low breaking balls. At what point does it transition to where no matter what the count is, the pitcher's got to be doesn't have the advantage anymore? It looked like Rizzo had the advantage the entire time.
No doubt, man. No, Rizzo, I think the great thing about when you get to 1-2, you get to 2 strikes. You have, as a hitter, you have to think you're not in trouble. Problem is we get the 2 strikes as a hitter and we get that more anxiety comes. Oh man, I don't want to strike out. Well, if your brain doesn't register don't. If you say don't, it registers strike out. It doesn't register the negative. It doesn't register the negative command. So as a hitter, you just have to keep saying, see the ball, see the ball, see the ball, right? And you could tell Rizzo when he got 1-2, when he was fighting, guess what? All he's doing is he's downloading to his brain visually what he's seeing. And all of a sudden, he's like, I got this guy. Even though it's 1-2 and I'm fouling balls off, I got him. If he gives me a pitch to hit, I'm going to get him. And I think that was the big thing is I remember, Chinch, back when I was it was one of my favorite at-bats of all time. World Series 2006, facing Adam Wainwright. 9th inning, game 5. I'm the second hitter of the inning. First guy gets out. I come up. Place is going nuts. If they get 3 outs in the 9th, St. Louis is World Series champs, right?
Yeah.
So I get in the box. First pitch, Adam Wainwright throws me a changeup. I swing and miss it. I was expecting a heater. Next pitch, he throws me a heater up. I swing down 0-2. Bro, I step out. Now I've had thousands and thousands of at-bats in my career. Thousands, right? And I step out of the box, bro. I've never heard a sound like this in my life. 55, 60,000 people were ever at Busch Stadium. Deafening. Going crazy. Because I'm the second out with one more out to go for a championship. I mean, I got the chills talking about it. A deafening roar, bro. Deafening roar. So I step out, and I remember thinking, wow, is that loud? Like, I've never heard anything like that before. Wow, is that loud? But then, right, the mentality, the power that I've always had in the box of focusing on the process hits me right in the face, says, no, Don't get caught in the moment. Get back to the at-bat. Because you're useless if you can't get on base. You're down 3-1, game 5. You got to get on base. Like, get back in the at-bat. So I was like, okay. I remember taking like a deep breath, and I took a longer breath, probably one of the longest breaths I've taken, to just kind of get my mind back of the chaos I just felt. Literally, my body felt the chaos. While I was like, this is looking unbelievable, right? Took a breath. I got back in the box, said, get back in my world. Because at the end of the day, it's me versus Wainwright, right? I got to compete now. He's throwing the ball. I got to find a way. Next pitch, ball 1. So I get him back to 1-2, and I think, okay, I'm back 1-2, deep breath, see the ball hammered, get back to him. He throws me another pitch, fastball, 2-2, I believe, and it's up. So when it's up, and it's up and away, like it's a bad pitch. So mentally, as a hitter, I feel like at that point, man, I just switched things.
Flipped it.
He's scared of me now. Like maybe he's caught up in the craziness in this moment, but now as a hitter, I brought it back to 2-2. And I remember the next pitch was 3-2, and I remember thinking to myself, I got him. Like, he's going to give me something to hit here. Doesn't want to walk me. I'm back in the moment. I got him. Throws me a heater, 96, 97. Wham! I hit a rocket off the fence, right center line drive. Came to second base. We end up losing the game in game 5. But I always go back to that moment because it was so huge. And the energy of the crowd was so big. And I'd never felt that before, right? And it was just something that was like, it was really cool to be able to get back to get back into character of, no, I got to get back to the hitter and fight this fight and make sure I get a pitch to hit. So I know what Rizzo obviously was in a different situation. It wasn't the World Series energy, but there probably was something about the energy of Wrigley being packed that day and him staying in the at-bat. Pretty cool.
So awesome. And talk about this sport. It's amazing how you need to relax to be able to catch up to a 98 miles per hour fastball. It's like one of the only sports, I know they say, oh, let the game come to you in basketball, whatever. You need to be more relaxed and focused, I think, in baseball to be faster than to be ramped up, right?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's like literally your vision turns on through relaxation. Think about how the brain works. When you're stressed out in life, what do we say? Hey, man, go take a breath.
Yeah.
Go sit down, take a couple deep breaths, right? And what are we trying to do? We're trying to get whatever it is, the adrenaline or whatever, that the chemicals in our body, we're trying to bring those down, right? And I think it's funny, like that's exactly what you're doing in sports. Like watch the anatomy of an at-bat. Watch a Mike Trout. Watch a Rizzo. Watch these guys step out. You'll always see a breath. You'll always see a JD Martinez the other night, watching him, one of the best hitters in the game. Steps out, looks at his bat, takes a deep breath, gets in. Why? Because it takes the anxiety of the moment that's bred in sports. I got to breathe anxiety in my life, right? I got to get my thoughts going crazy or whatever. I breathe anxiety. Sports breathes it for you, right? So I think it's a great thing to look back and say, how do I get in the moment? Man, I got to take a deep breath to get in the moment. To do what? To turn my vision on, because my eyes are connected to my brain. If I get my vision on, now I can really see the ball. It's just a fact, and the guys that do it better than others are the best hitters in the game.
You're on a fire, man. This is great. That's why I'm going to skip ahead I'm going to skip ahead to something and then go back because this next thing, there's a couple of this dates in history, but since you're in the mindset of a hitter right now, I want to keep you in that mindset. Back in 2003, Dontrelle Willis came on the scene. I mean, as big as anybody, like Didrich or anybody in the league. On this date in history, through a complete game shutout, they won 1-0. They beat the Mets, and this was like his super duper coming out party. But his record was 6-1. He had one loss because 2 weeks before, you faced him, your team. He was throwing a perfect game going into the 7th inning when you came to the plate. Do you remember all? Take us in the minds of those.
I totally remember. And Dontrelle, I think the reason Dontrelle was so awesome was that he was bigger than life with the smile and the personality, and it was just out there having a lot of fun. And it engulfed baseball. It engulfed the whole, all the fans and even us as players. But look at this right here. I mean, you talk about facing Dontrelle. The biggest thing as a hitter. Yeah, the biggest thing as a hitter was you're trying to like see the natural motion, just leg kick. Guy comes up, is that as soon as you're looking for a release point, as soon as you see the release point, as a hitter, you're trying to see the ball early and then see the ball late, right? And those are the biggest things. Well, with a guy like Dontrelle, who was so big and left-handed, he'd get that really big leg kick and almost coil, and he hid the ball so well, Chinch. That's why he was so good. Dontrelle, the ball would just come out of this big body. So you're like, man, I really am not seeing this well. His deception was next level. And I remember that game. He was rolling along against us. We're in Florida. It's super hot down there. Thunderstorms at 4 o'clock. In Florida, you never took batting practice on the field because it rained every day at 4. And they'd be like, hey, you're in the cages again. I'm like, aren't we in Florida? Like, aren't we supposed to be outside in the sun? Like, no, there's a perennial monsoon outside, but it stops in 40 minutes. And so it's crazy. So, you're in Florida. And I remember Dontrelle, I remember facing him. And I remember facing, whenever you face a good lefty, like, a Randy Johnson, a Tom Glavine, an Andy Pettit, these guys, when you face good lefties like this, usually they're doing something in the zone that has good movement, right? And with a guy like Dontrelle, it was so deceptive that the ball would pop out, and he had good sink. He had a good slider. He just had really good stuff. And I remember the first couple of bats, him getting me out. And my third at bat, I said to myself, man, just like we talked about, Chinch, going back to, hey, let's really relax. Let's slow down so I get my vision going. Because if I don't see him late, I'm never going to hit him. So I remember just getting real relaxed. I think he threw me a sinker, and I remember just kind of staying inside it, and I lined one to left field and got a knock, right? Yeah. And it was like, man, that was, I think sometimes even as a hitter, you say to yourself, man, that was a good at bat. Like, that was a great approach. Great approach against a guy like this who has great stuff today. And, it was great. It's great facing a guy like Dontrelle. Not easy, man. Not an easy at bat.
Yeah, and don't sleep on later in that game. You hit a 2-run homer in the 9th to win it, so.
That's right, dude. I remember that game. I was locked in. I hit a ball right center off Matt Parricio, I believe, who I hadn't got a hit off yet.
You were 0 for 5 against him before that. Yep.
Well, it was a great game to do it, bro, because I was like, well, at least he's not Dontrelle. That's a freaking nightmare right there.
Oh yeah, you got him.
I was like, anybody but Dontrelle. So I mean, Dontrelle made Parricio look, not as hard.
Right. All right. So going back, and again, we stick with hitting. There's no better person to celebrate about hitting than Tony Gwynn. And on this date in history, he passed away, but we wanted to talk about him and celebrate him, and not only the hitter he was and a player he was, but the person he was. And you got a chance to meet him a couple times, and just tell us your thoughts on him.
I got a few stories about Tony Gwynn. I mean, Tony Gwynn was just such a great guy, and he loved baseball. I remember being a young kid. The first time I had a couple conversations with Tony Gwynn, but in 1998, I was, had the nerves going. I was excited to, meet him and all that stuff. And I remember he would just shoot a line drive right, or a ground ball right in the 5-hole to left field. He would just boom. It was like a magician. Literally, watching Tony Gwynn hit was like watching a magician with the bat. It was unbelievable. And I remember he came to first base. I believe this was in '99, early '99, and I was getting married at the end of '99. And I remember thinking to myself, what can I give my groomsmen that would be a cool gift besides, like, I don't know, whatever you get groomsmen. What'd you get your groomsmen, Kinch?
I think I got wait, I got it right here. It's actually kind of cool. Hold on.
I was in your wedding. I should know what you got the groomsmen. I can't remember. See, that's what I'm saying.
See that?
Oh yes, that thing is sweet. That's right.
By the way, you were one of my groomsmen, bro. So where is yours?
I know.
I'm glad.
House, bro.
Yeah. Right. It's in that bucket of baseballs that you signed for your parents and nobody won.
I know exactly. Oh my god.
All right, keep going. You're trying to get your grooms.
So I was trying to get my groomsmen a good gift. I'm like, what can I get them? I was like, I'll get them all big league bats for some of the best players in the league, right? Nice. So I asked a couple guys. I asked McGuire. It was pretty ballsy of me looking back. I'm like 25 years old. I really haven't done crap in the game. I mean, I'm 24, 25, but I'm having a good year in '99. So I'm like, I got some clout now. I can ask these guys for bats. Yeah. So I asked McGuire. I asked Greg Vaughn gave me a bat. I got who else did I get? Sammy Sosa. I was asking the big dogs, right? Oh. So the one guy I wanted to get was Tony Gwynn. I'm like, so I remember he gets a knock to left. He comes to first. I'm holding him on. I forget this. I'm holding him on. I'm like, hey, Tony, like, I'm trying to get bats for my groomsmen, signed bats. and you're one of the best players in the game. Do you think you could send a bat over to me?
Yeah.
He's like, no problem, Case. So I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. Sometimes I've asked guys for bats and they're like, yeah, no problem. And the bat never comes, So a guy like Tony Gwynn, you're like, flip a coin. Hopefully he remembers. It's like the second inning. So sure enough, after the game, bro, Tony Gwynn sends me a bat over, signed, game used bat. One of the coolest bats. I wish I had it right here. I'll show it on one of the episodes. But I have all these cool bats that I've collected, probably 180 bats. That means that's a lot of conversations at first. Like, hey, bro, you send a bat over? I'm like, they must have been like, oh, God, we don't want to go to first base. Casey's going to ask us for an autograph item. It's ridiculous. So sure enough, he sends this bat over. It's a 32. Like in the big leagues, guys are using 34s. And I think nowadays they're 33 and a half.
Right.
But you're using a 33 to a 34. Not many guys are at a 32. Gwynn was using a 32 bat. And I believe it had like nowadays when you watch baseball change, all these guys have those rubber grips on there, right? Like almost look like tennis grips,
I got some shots in here. Keep talking.
He sent me a bat over that had it was like a tennis grip. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It wasn't that. It wasn't tape. It literally was like a tennis grip or something like that. But it was really, really cool. So that was one of the things. Oh, and I don't think I gave it to the Grooves, but I think I kept it. I was wondering. I'm like, this bat's way too cool. I'm like, I'll ask Luis Gonzalez for one. He'll give me one, and then I can keep the Tony Gwynn one. So nice. Oh my gosh, it's so great. Two other great Gwynn stories.
Oh.
You talk about conversations at first base. I think it was like 2000, 99 or 2000. Tony wasn't a big power hitter, but he had power in there. And in this game, he went deepest first at bat, deepest second at bat. Third at bat, he walked. He got to first base, and I'm like, "What's up, Tone? How's it going, man? You're really raking today." He goes, "Oh, no, I'm not, man. Really struggling right now." And I remember pausing, and I looked up at the scoreboard, and it was like 320 with however many homers he had. And I'm like, "You're struggling?" I'm like, "Everyone in the league would love to have those numbers." He goes, "No, man." He goes, "If I've hit 2 home runs in a game, I know my swing's not right." Wow. I was just like, "Wow, man, that is so freaking cool."
It is.
And one other story, in 2001, I was in his group in the All-Star game in Seattle, which was really, really cool. And I was like, "Oh man," I was like, "I got to annoy Tony Gwynn one more time." I've already annoyed him for bats and other stuff, and now this time I was like, I just picked his brain, man, because the great thing about the All-Star game is you're with guys for the first time. You never really get a chance to hang out with these guys besides maybe being on first base. So we're outside, and he would hit, then he would come out, and before I would hit, I would just pick his brain. "Hey, man, could you talk to me a little bit about how you hit that 5-hole so easy? What's your thought process at the plate?" And he was like, "Man, I'm up there. I'm looking to drive something to left center. If it's mid, I'm looking to react in. So I'm looking to go middle away, react in." It was just an unbelievable conversation how we were going back and forth. And I had a moment where I'm like, "Man, I'm the luckiest man in the whole world, dude. Like, I'm playing Major League Baseball, but I'm at the All-Star game in Seattle. Tony Gwynn's in my group, and I'm having a conversation with one of the greatest hitters of all time, talking hitting." So fortunate, dude. He was such a kind guy, such a great guy. Yeah. And just have nothing but great things to say about Tony Gwynn. Rest in peace, Tony.
Absolutely. And philosophically, real quick, back when me and some of the other guys were young PAs at ESPN, he did some ESPN stuff. He did studio stuff, and he did some games for a little while. And somebody, I think it may have been you, were chasing 400 this one year, and he was in our show meeting. And when I talk, I'm talking like a scientist. He had explained how his at-bats were broken down. Like, first half of the season, I need every one at-bat, every one hit. It's going to raise my average 1/8 of the percentage point. But when I get to that second half of the season, and we're all sitting there like, holy cow. He breaks it down to a needle in a haystack. But you said you did something similar to that when you played.
Yeah, it's funny. I was fortunate. I did, I didn't have the speed to get to 400 probably. But I remember Luis Gonzalez. I was hitting 371 at the break in 1999. I was leading the league in hits. I had like 127 hits. I was in the training room before the game, the All-Star game. It was me, Mark McGuire, Jeff Bagwell. I think Tony Gwynn was in there too. Luis Gonzalez, and Luis Gonzalez is like, "Hey, Case, And it was kind of cool because I'm with all these guys, and it's like, I don't really know them. I'm 25. I'm the new guy. Yeah. He's like, hey, Case. He's like, how many hits do you have? I go, 127 hits. He goes, really? That's raking. He goes, how many infield hits do you have? I said, 0. He goes, now that's raking. And I was like, now that is raking. But it's funny to look back at those years that I was at 1 year I was at 355 at the break. I was at 390 in the middle of June, I think, in 2004. So those are my 2 really big years. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to – and I did this my whole career from college on. I thought in 100 at-bat increments, right? 100 at-bat increments and getting 40 hits per 100 at-bat, not 30. Because if you're getting 30, what do they say? Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll be amongst the stars, right? So I'm shooting for 400. And if I miss 400, maybe I'm at 350. Maybe I'm at 300. If I'm shooting for 300, maybe I'm at 220. Like I had to get my brain to a point where it was like, when I was doing my stats at 400 at bats, I'd be like, okay, let's get to 40. And it was crazy, Chance. There was so many times I did it. When I go back and look at my career, there's a few months there where I'm hitting 420, 430 for the month. Or close to 400 for the month, which is crazy. My son Jake, who was playing in his senior year season, he has 30 at bats, and he's had some good games and some bad games, and it's the ups and downs and all that stuff. And I was like, you can't live in the ups and downs of baseball. You got to ride the emotional wave. You can't take it up. You can't get too high when you're going good and too low when you're going bad. I said, you got to be able to ride the emotional wave. And I said, 30 at bats. If I judged myself on 30 at bats, I'd have been in the insane asylum, right? I'd have been with the Joker in the insane asylum, right? I mean, like, you got to be kidding me. 100 at bats is that's when you can start judging who am I as a hitter right now. And I love that Tony Gwynn did that. He was so good at. I remember him talking about when he was at 394, I think in 94, when the strike hit. He's like, I really believed I could have done it. Like, I was going to hit 400 that year, and I really believe he would have.
Wow, that's awesome, man. You're on fire today. Yeah. You should start like a hitting like a cult. Not even like clinic, do a cult. All right, so that's a little teaser. We got some video of one of your sons a little later on in the show. That's gonna be pretty wonderful. But we've been saying we like all the little viral videos. We
don't like viruses. We don't like viruses. We
do not like videos. So that's a great point. National Ocean Week or month, whatever one of those scams they do to kind of try to get us to donate something. But this video popped up the other day, and I need you to look at it. Tell me what you would do here.
Oh my God, are you serious, bro?
This is real. It's from Ocean Life, Instagram. Wait till you see the next shot.
Gosh, dude, that's unbelievable how big that whale is. Holy, dude, it looks like a freaking Royal Caribbean cruise liner, but it's really a whale. Like, who's the guy? Jonah? Is that
Jonah? Jonah.
Is that the guy? No.
Jonah.
The guy jumped in the whale. I can't remember. My
Jonah in the whale.
It's not good.
What are you talking about?
Remember, what's the story in the Bible when the I think it's Jonah, right? Doesn't he?
It is Jonah. Yeah.
He goes in the whale. That's what he looked. That's probably the whale that slurped up Jonah back in the day. He's freaking, get me out of here, dude. I'm gonna light a fire.
All right. Jeez. This next, I'm trying to segue here. Something. You need a sec?
Yeah, hang on. My computer's about to die, Chich. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Hang on. I gotta move this over. To plug it in. Hang on.
I'm being told by Tara Burns, good friend of the family here, has confirmed you are right. It is Jonah.
Jonah, yes. Yeah, I don't know, Tara. I knew she would know. She's great.
Yes, that's a good agree.
Loves the Bible.
All right, so I was trying to get from this to a segue to get to what we really want to talk about in a minute, but so I had
This is how the sausage is made, Chich. We're talking about whales.
Yeah. So now, we're going from whales to sharks, but it's a cat shark. This cat has over 2.9 million views.
Oh my God, the cat only has 2.9 more million views than we do.
Yeah, we have like 30. We've been doing this for 7 weeks.
We gotta start. You know what I'm gonna start doing, Chich? I'm gonna start riding down on the robo thing, that thing that cleans your house, and I'm just gonna put a freaking alligator suit on and just ride around, and hopefully we can get the 2.1 million hits.
We'll get more hits on our YouTube page. All right, great. But so that was gonna segue us into our first story. And first involves cats, and this story came up because something popped into your head that you were
yes
reminded about, and this is the first time you rented an apartment or tried to rent an apartment to another player.
Well, last week we were talking about the Poison concert, and we were looking at who was in the picture: Todd Walker, Danny Graves, Booney, and Dunner. And I'm like, Todd Walker is one of my favorite, great friend, one of my favorite teammates. And so it just jarred a story, and I was like, dude, let's put this story in the hopper. It's an unbelievable story. So Todd Walker gets traded to the Reds, I believe, in 2002. And at that time, I had just I was living in an apartment with, my wife, a couple kids. I think just Andrew, Andrew, and I think we were pregnant with Jake, right? We weren't pregnant. My wife was pregnant at the time.
Okay.
So
clear that
we had this apartment. It was kind of a bootleg apartment, and we had just bought a house, a townhouse right down the street. So we're like, oh great. So I had this apartment sitting there. I'd signed a 6-month lease, so I couldn't get out of it. Whatever. So Todd Walker gets traded to the Reds, and we're talking that day and out at in batting practice. He's like, hey Case, he's like, we got to find a place to live. We don't even know. We have no idea where to live. I mean, we don't know this area. I go, bro, it's your lucky day. I tell you what, I got this great apartment that I got. I was selling it like I was a real estate salesman. Like, got this great apartment, bro. It's freaking 3 bedrooms. This thing's unbelievable. You're gonna love it. So, but it's really wasn't the greatest of apartments. So I'm like, hey, listen, after the game today, because it was a day game, I said, why don't you come over to the apartment? I'll show you and your wife around. His wife, Katie, was like super pregnant, right? She was just waddling around. She's like 8.5 months pregnant. I'm like, bring your wife over, bring Katie and bring yourself to this apartment. So boom, they come in. And, at the time too, before we had the kids, we had these 2 cats, Spaz and Callie. We just had Callie till about a year ago, just died. We had the Callie before we had the kids, 19 years old. It was the most stubborn cat ever. Freaking thing would just, no one could pick it up. I would pick it up and would like try to attack me. I'm like, why do we get this cat, right? The other cat, Spaz, we named it Spaz because it was freaking nuts. It was just spaz hours everywhere, right? We had to give it away because we had to give Spaz away because he started to pee. Whenever we'd have people sleep over, like family relatives, it would pee on the relative. You're like, Spaz just peed on my mother-in-law last night. I mean, I'm like, we're trying to get rid of the cat. So this is what we're dealing with before we get rid of the cats.
You haven't even gotten to the story yet. That's how good the story is.
I know, it's so good because you got to know the cats are just nuts.
Yeah, I agree.
Dominating, right? So we go upstairs, and what we did was we didn't have what we had back then was we'd get the litter boxes where you could throw them away. You just load the litter in, boom, you got the litter box. Cats take a piss, couple dumps, bam, you throw it right into the garbage can, right? You're in business. So I'm with Todd Walker. I'm like, come on in, bro. It's a great place. So I'm showing him here. Look at this beautiful living room here. You can put there. You got a freaking couch, this and that. So I'm like, let's go upstairs and check out the bedrooms. So I go upstairs and check out the bedroom. Turns out in the spare bedroom, we had this, and now his wife, Katie's so pregnant, she doesn't want to come up the stairs. So I'm like, hey, Katie, just stay at the bottom of the stairs. And it's kind of a loft, right? It's kind of a loft. There's stairs going up, but it's like a loft upstairs. So Katie's at the bottom of the stairs. I'm like, let me show Todd upstairs, and then you guys can rent this property from me. It's such a good apartment. They're like, oh, this sounds great. They're really liking it. They're loving it. So I go in to show them the bedrooms, and I realize I left one of the cat litter boxes, in the bathroom, right? And it probably been there for like at least a month, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together at the time. So I go in there, there's a couple bombs in there, you know what I mean? You're like, I obviously didn't clean it out. And Todd Walker's like, hey, what's this? And I'm like, oh, bro, my bad. I'm like, you have cats? It's like, no, we can't stand cats. I'm like, we're allergic to like the cat litter and stuff. It's bad. It's bad for pregnant women and all that stuff. Yeah, it is bad for pregnant women. Like, oh, no big deal. I'm like, it's no problem. So I'm like, so I show him the thing. He's like, okay, cool. So he goes down, talks to Katie. I'm like, I better get this. If they're gonna rent this place, they're not gonna want this cat litter obviously box in the bathroom. I better get it out of here. So I'm like, I go to pick it up and I'm walking down the stairs with it, like the loft stairs. Freaking bottom of it just boom explodes. Freaking cat poop just comes flying in the air, and like all this cat urine, because it was so much urine at the bottom, it wore out the bottom of this cat litter box. Boom! It collapses. Here it comes. It's like raining cat litter down on Katie Walker. She's like, ah! This freaking Todd's diving for it. Cat poops like ricocheting off his head. Is boom, boom. Here comes the cat litter. It's just all over the place. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Through the stairs, I like go down there. Like, I think Katie and Todd are like covered in cat litter with like poop on the floor. And I look at, and I'm just stunned coming down the stairs. They look at me. I look at them. I was like, you guys aren't going to rent this place, are you? They're like, no, I think we're going to go someplace else. I'm like, okay, I'm a good teammate. I had no idea that was going to happen. I'm so sorry, Katie. We should get to the hospital ASAP. You have cat litter on yourself.
Unbelievable. I told you, folks, that was a great story. I don't even know. There's no thing. This next story is just as good, but just different. We're talking about first, Bill, the Casey first. So that was the first time you poured cat litter on one of your teammates' pregnant wives.
Oh my God.
Check that off the list.
What a terrible story. Now that I tell it out loud, like I don't think I've told that story in years. You tell it out loud. It's a terrible story. Sorry, Katie, if you ever watch this. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay, the second first. We got to get the social media. Hold on, I got to get the Sebastian thing. I don't know if I got this.
Yeah. What about the Sebastian Maniscalco bit?
Yeah, hold on. This is also sausage being made. I got to grab it. The couch delivery really threw me for a loop here. Hold on, where is he? Sebastian. Stand by, everybody. It'll be worth it. Everybody.
I got another cat urine story down the pipeline. I don't know what it is about me and cats and.
Oh, that's right. I know that one. Oh, all right.
Good one.
So this is what has got us thinking about your dad. And first, let's check this out from Sebastian.
We are going to Las Vegas. Wine, and you can't go to Vegas without a little cheese and meat. This was brought on by us. This they didn't give it to us. They don't give this stuff away. We will keep you posted. It's a 36-hour trip, and he is raring to go.
Good.
First of all, he's hysterical, Sebastian.
It was his dad. That was a first for Sebastian, right? First private flight
first
with his dad.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're talking about the first time you gave your dad a pass to a game.
Well, it's funny because what's great about baseball is it's truly a father-son journey, right? I mean, when you're younger, you're throwing catch for your dad. Your dad loves baseball. You love it too. When you get to big leagues, you want your dad to experience that too. You want like, hey, Dad, I want to bring you in to the big league experience. You're the reason why I love baseball. And so, my dad's such a good guy. He's real outgoing, real intense. I think probably that's where I got my intensity from Jim Casey. So, you talk about first of bringing your dad into the big league experience. Well, we're in spring training 2000, I can't remember, 2000, 2001, something like that, early on. And I give a pass to my dad and my father-in-law, Big John Kanka. And so I give them passes to come on the field for batting practice, get a chance to see Griffey up close, Adam Dunn, see these guys crushing ball, great players. Who we playing? Maybe we're playing the Red Sox. You get to see, Manny Ramirez and all these guys, So my dad's on the field. Meanwhile, my dad comes on the field. It's like one of those, like you think your embarrassing days with your family is over when you're a teenager. You're like so bothered by your parents. Like my kids are so bothered by me. Like, you're so annoying, Dad. Like, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, I'm a good dude. Like, no, that's the way it goes. So as you get older, you think those times go away. Well, they don't, Chinch. I'm going to tell you right now, they don't. So my dad comes to batting practice with a shirt on. It's like, it's an old shirt that says, the mayor, and it's like a caricature of me blowing a bubble. And like my team starts crushing. Yeah, he's like, hey, did you tell your dad to wear that good shirt of you, the mayor? I'm like, come on, he's my dad. He's proud. He's proud, So it was kind of the running joke. And my dad's the greatest guy, so he's hamming it up with all the guys and stuff. It's a really fun day. I'm trying to get a big league experience from my dad. I'm trying to let him know. So here we go, brother. It's spring training, and I'm getting ready for the game. We got a day game, whatever. I'm out there doing my stretches. I'm up. I'm like down to the right. And I'm down to the right for 5, down to the left for 5. I'm doing all my stretches. So next thing you know, I go down to my right. Get a couple of stretches. And I go down to my right, and I hear, "Hey, Case, is that your dad?" And I go, and now I'm on my hamstring, so I'm like, "Yeah." Where's my dad? In the stands? They go, "No." "Is that your dad running a pole?" What? So I get up and I look over, and there's my dad and my father-in-law running from the right field foul pole on the warning track, on the field, 5 minutes before the game, full sprint, pole to pole. And I'm like, "What the hell is he doing? You got to be kidding me." So my dad's running a full sprint with my father-in-law, John Kanka. I think he gets about to the 375 sign in the left center gap, just freaking yard sale on his hamstring. Boom! He goes down. John Kanka's I think John Kanka put him over his shoulder. John Kanka's one of the biggest dudes ever. Puts my dad over his shoulder. I go running in, thinking I think he might have gone to the training room. They're giving ultrasound to my dad. They're giving stem to my dad. Ultrasound, freaking. They got him in the ice bath. I'm like, what's going on here? And meanwhile, I'm flustered because I'm getting ready to play a big league game. I got my dad freaking running a pole, blows out a hammy. He's getting escorted off the field. He's in the training room. They're freaking got ice on him. He's in the cold tub. They got stem units on him. This is unbelievable. So after the game, I'm like, "Dad, first off, are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I'm like, "Well, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing running a pole?" He's like, "It's a dream come true, Shawnee. Dream come true." He's like, every time, because we used to go down to spring training when we were kids, and you'd see the pictures when they come out of the game, they'd run poles. And my dad's like, "That's so cool. Only in spring training can you see guys running poles, when they come out of the game." I'm like, "I know, but there are pictures in the game. They actually play, and then they're the pitcher, and they're going to run a pole, right?" So it's like, dream come true, dream come true. So I'm like, okay, it's no big deal, But then I'm like, "Dad," I'm like, "you can't do that. I'm trying to give you the big experience, but I can't give you a pass anymore if you're going to run a pole right before the game in front of everybody, the packed house. I got my teammates crushing me." And he looks right at me, he goes, "Lighten up." I'm like, it's like I turned into this little kid, I just got yelled at by my dad for something he did. But, it's like, all right, whatever, Dad. It's all good.
I love it. I love it. Now you're the dad, though, man. Now you're the dad. And we got some video from the other day.
Bandits lead the Steamers 7-0, starting things off this half inning. Number 39, your first baseman.
My son Andrew down, he's playing in the Wood Bat League in North Carolina.
And he'll put it right into that one. Left field will.
Sammy Sosa style on the backswing, Keith. You taught him how to pimp homers? You don't pimp homers. What is that?
Well, you know what? It's the new generation. That was like a half pimp. I can respect that. He kind of shuffled out of there. It was almost like a Sammy Sosa shuffle, but proud moment, bro. Proud moment. My dad. Speaking of my dad's following it on what are the Tarboro River the River Bats, Tarboro River Bandits, right? And I'm on air the other night on MLB Network, and my dad's blowing my phone up. "Andrew just went deep. Andrew went deep." And I'm like, I think I was in the middle of a talk, and I'm like, I just started fumbling my words. I was so excited because, it's like your kids talking to Pedro Martinez the other day. He's like, and we were talking about Vlad Jr. Vlad Sr. is so lucky because he had a Hall of Fame career, had a great career, blah, blah, blah. But when your kids do something, you get more excited. So now he's watching Vlad Jr., who's the best player in baseball, and he gets a chance to experience it all over again through his son's eyes. So it's just cool. It's cool. Anytime you see your kids, do something like that, it's fun. So, that was a cool moment the other night seeing Andrew.
I remember when we were working together back in the day, this was years ago, you came in and you I think it may have been Andrew. It was one of your sons at a basketball game. He's like, I'm at his basketball game the other day, and I'm like, "Hey, rebound, get your elbows, whatever." And he's like, "Dad, leave me alone." And I remember you going, "I was a professional athlete. They don't even want to listen to me. I was a professional athlete, and he doesn't want to listen to me." You were so upset.
So good. Dude, I had a conversation the other day. I remember my dad in the big leagues, sometimes facing Hideo Nomo, he'd be like, "Hey, listen, with 2 strikes, don't swing at that split finger in the dirt. You got to let that go. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, Dad, this is really hard. My mom would always tell me, no, it's really hard up there. I was like, Dad, if I knew it was a split finger, I wouldn't have swung at it. It's just really hard up here. Well, the other day, Andrew was talking about, hey, that pitch inside sometimes it's jamming me. Like, what do I do? I was like, well, don't swing at it, Andrew. How about you try not to swing at it? He goes, it's not that easy, Dad. I'm like, oh my God, here I am. I'm giving the same advice my dad gave me. Like, don't swing at it. He's like, it's not that easy, Dad.
That's great. Hey, you know what we didn't talk about? What we're going to do today? We got 2 more things to do. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Here we go.
We're going, champ.
That might be the coolest thing. Look at you, Dan. Hold on, let me get my clock ready. Again, I got to thank Jess for help on this because, I mean, I'm telling you, man, these guys don't show up on time.
Hey, give credit to your wife, Jess, one time. She dominates and helps us out big time, so let's go.
Yeah, credit where it's due. I'm lucky to have her. How's that? There we go. You ready? Okay, minute 30 on the clock. You know how this works. Time starts now. Egg salad, chicken salad, or tuna salad?
Oh, I like a look at egg salad with chipotle hot sauce on there. Chalupa.
Would you rather get your ear pierced or your nipple pierced?
Oh my gosh. Ear. Gotta go with the ear if it's a must. Ear.
Okay, your next life, would you rather come back as a beekeeper or a lion tamer? A minute.
A beekeeper, because you could crush their honey. They get the lion might eat you one day. The bees give you honey. You can eat it all day.
Good one. What would you have a better shot at winning? American Idol or Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, Dancing with the Stars. I'm such a bad singer, so at least I could learn some moves or something. You know what I mean?
Okay, 45 seconds left. Would you rather play one game as an NFL QB but throw 4 interceptions, or play in Wimbledon but lose 6-love?
Oh my gosh. Probably a quarterback, just to be an NFL quarterback and see what that's like, and then to get out of there. I probably threw 4 picks because I was scared to death.
Okay. Oh shoot, we got it.
How much time?
23 seconds. All right, let's go quick. Would you rather be 12 feet tall or 2 feet tall?
12 feet.
Would you rather be stuck in an elevator who doesn't shut up, or someone who doesn't say anything but stares at you the entire time?
Someone who doesn't shut up.
What's worse to find in your house, bed bugs or a snake in your bathroom? 5 seconds.
Snake.
Who would you rather have play you in a movie, Schwarzenegger or Stallone?
Stallone.
Oh, you did it. You did it.
Did I get it?
You got it. The timer went on, and right when you said Stallone.
Stallone, baby. Who doesn't want to be Rocky?
Yeah. You said, what about an eyebrow piercing? Would you do that instead of the ear or nipple?
No, they're all terrible. I think the ear would be the best because you're like, you could pinch. Like right now, I'm pinching my ear as far as I can, and it still hurts, but it doesn't not your nipple or your eyebrow. It's
horrible. One of my friends got his eyebrow pierced in a bar in Mexico, and the next day he woke up and his entire eye was shut. Don't ever do that.
I looked like he was in a fight.
Yes. All right. So last thing we got, which is going to be like a remote baseball card pack opening, because you are on the road, or you're at Cyrus, right? Where are we right now?
Yes, I'm on the road.
But so what we did was this website is really awesome, this Instagram account. It's like vintage baseball cards. You'll see it on the thing here. Vintage baseball cards.
Yeah, I love
tons.
that. Yeah,
go to this Instagram page, and we came up with this one. Bo Jackson, Auburn football uniform, and a baseball bat. And you have some Bo stories to tell. First of all, that is an awesome baseball card.
That's a great baseball card. The first story. Do I have 2 stories?
You had one about him calling somebody the other day who has a bad hit.
Oh yeah. That's right. Okay, I'll go to this one story. Really cool story. So you talk about the greatest athletes of all time, and everyone's like Bo Jackson, Jim Thorpe. You go Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson, and then Deion Sanders, right? Brian Jordan, Deion Sanders. Yeah. I mean, some of the great.
Where are you going?
There's a couple other ones I'm not remembering. Drew Henson, But you talk about Deion Sanders, you know, and when you talk about prime, man, everyone always asks me, who are your favorite teammates? Who this? I played with Deion 1 year. One of my favorite teammates I ever played with. Such a good dude. And what's so funny about Prime, probably the quietest guy in the clubhouse. Loves his faith. He would grab the Bible every day, take a word, and he would swear it. He would break down that word for like a week. Different scriptures, different stuff. It was unbelievable to watch. But he was real quiet, but just an awesome guy. But when the lights came on, that's when prime time came out. I'm like, it's unbelievable. This guy's like a chameleon. He's as quiet as can be, working on scripture. And then when the lights come on, it's like prime time's here. You know, it's like two different people. It was so cool. One of the greatest guys ever. So we're in Chicago playing the White Sox. I'm hitting third that day. And I forgot my batting gloves up in the, you know, getting ready to get on deck. And I go into my helmet, my batting gloves. So I must have left them up there after batting practice. I'm like, man. So I go up there to get my batting gloves. And so no one's in the clubhouse. Prime's hurt at the time, so he's rehabbing. So I go to get my batting gloves at the locker. Boom, I get them. I turn around, and I look at two guys sitting in Prime's locker. It's Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson having a conversation. The only two dudes in the clubhouse. And I'm like, why is it not 2021 where I can have a freaking phone like this and take a picture? I got no camera. I got nothing. I'm about to be on deck. It's like worst case scenario. But I almost don't even care if I get up. I'm like, if they miss my spot, just roll it over. Like have Dunner hit next because I just want to go get in this conversation. So I start walking over, and Deion, you know, like I said, Prime's such a good guy. You can tell he knows that I want to like meet Bo Jackson. And he's like, Case. He's like, hey, you ever met Bo before? I'm like, you know, I like literally was like, I didn't know what to say. So I walk over and I'm like, hey man, how you doing? I'm Sean Casey. He's like, I know who you are, man. Bo Jackson, nice to meet you. He's like, I love your swing, man. You got a sweet left-handed swing. And now I'm just like, I'm speechless, bro, because I know what I'm looking at. Looking at history there. Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson, sitting in Deion's locker. Who knows what they're talking about? Hey, I was better than you. You're better than me. Hey, if I didn't have that hip injury, I'd be the greatest, you know, greatest player of all time in baseball and football. You know, Deion's like, I'm the greatest cornerback of all time, shut down. They've been changing defenses for me all the time. I don't know what the conversation was going on, but I know it was unbelievable. It was like such a cool moment for me in my life to be like, wow, that is really cool, man. Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson, having a conversation. I'm a fly on the wall, come into it, say hi to Bo. I go out and probably ground out or something, but it was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Also a gentle, nice guy, Bo Jackson, that people don't notice. Very like soft spoken and sweet.
Such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. Really nice.
And speaking,
Harold Reynolds the other night, we're on air. H has just had hip surgery because his first hip surgery. So he's kind of limping along during our demo. But then he gets and he throws me a couple pitches and I'm hitting. I'm like, man, it's not bad. After the demo, Harold gets a text from none other than Bo Jackson. Bo says, hey man, your hip all right? Because it doesn't look all right. It looks like you're hurting. And it was like, oh my gosh, here's Bo Jackson, the most famous hip injury of all time. When you think hips, you think Bo Jackson. Yeah, all time. He's texting Harold when we're on air a couple weeks ago about his hip, and then it was so cool. We get back to the set and Harold calls Bo. And Bo's like, hey, what's up, man? And we're on commercial break. And Bo just starts going off about Harold's hip. It was just awesome.
That's awesome. So cool. Hey, one thing before we get going, I'm going to play a piece of video. Just watch it and listen to it, and you take it out of the back end. And the reason I want to play this anyway because it's awesome, but Sean got a lot of heat for being a $2 tipper last week, even though it wasn't his fault. But I will say this, as my friend and as everything else, you were one of the most generous people I've ever met and care about people so much. And this is just one example of it. And I just want you to kind of, talk over this after we get done with it and explain what you're doing here with these kids because it's awesome.
What's up, Peter? Oh my goodness! 4 for 4! A walk-off grand slam. That's going to end the game, folks. Holy smokes! Peter Macy.
Peter, baby.
Coming across for his 4th home run of the game. You can put it on the board. Yes.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
And that's your ball game.
4 homers, walk-off grand slam. Bears, White Sox, Miracle League of the South Hills. Let's go.
Awesome. Well,
So
explain
great,
to
bro.
everybody what
So-
you got going, man. Tell everybody what this.
You know what, man? I've done a lot of cool things, been a part of a lot of cool things in my life, but the Miracle League of the South Hills, organization we started about 10 years ago. There's tons of Miracle Leagues all over the country. But, this Miracle League of the South Hills for me, it's brought me so much joy and happiness watching these kids. We serve over 350 special needs kids. And that was the other night, Saturday night, I was catching for the White Sox Mariners competitive league. These kids really get after it. They're really serious, as you can see in that video. And Peter Macy right there had 3 home runs at the time, and there was bases loaded in the last inning. He hit a walk-off grand slam. It was just like, what a cool moment. All the kids are going crazy. And, the Miracle League of the South Hills is just a really, really, really touches my heart. Such a cool place. And if you want to get information on it, you can go to miracleleaguesouthhills.org and check us out. And
I'll put that on our
area, you can come join us.
I'm going to put that link on our YouTube page too, in case anybody wants to check it out.
Okay. Cool.
There is one thing. This, I guess, from the good to the bad to the ugly.
Oh yeah, baby! Jersey Spanish right there. Hey, Kenny Power style, hey. That was a triple banger right there. We got the freaking, we got the rain clouds in the background. Dominated once again, bro. 12 years in a row.
I didn't listen to the end of it. That was fantastic.
So
You're in better shape now than you were then. I don't know when that was, but you were in great shape then. But
no, I didn't clean it up a little bit. I didn't trim up the hair, freaking maybe a couple sit-ups, but you know what I mean. It was still good. Still a great time. It's a great time riding the waves with the kids at the Jersey Shore Avalon. Still fun.
All right, man, we
Kenny
did it.
Power style. Kenny Power style.
We did an hour. Next, the one thing you need to do next week is prove to me that you didn't throw this away. That's that's all I ask of you.
What if I can't find it? Is that going to kill our friendship if I can't find it?
No. The only thing that almost killed our friendship was when we first did our very first rehearsal for this show, and it went so bad. I said, we're not going to be friends anymore after this.
I said, Chich, we did the first rehearsal for the show. I said, Chich, maybe this is a bad idea. We should. It's turned out to be a hell of an idea, brother.
All right, man.
Well, I want to say, hey, to all the people watching out there, we appreciate you guys tuning in here on nofilter.net, and what a cool place to be. Chichi, you're my man. All the people that'll be listening out there, thanks for joining us. Check us out. Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. YouTube.
Spotify, Apple, YouTube.
Yeah, and No Filter too. So
No Filter.
Keep joining us. Hope you had a great time, and have a wonderful week. Until next week, brother. Love you, Chich.
Love you, bud.
See you, my man.